you labeled? Did it limit you in any way? Have you ever wished that people would see you for all that you are instead of what they assume you are? Sometimes, when I do well on a test, my peers call me a nerd. They assume I'm naturally smart, and they don't see all the other things about me. Like I'm not just about school and doing well. I have hobbies and interests, like camping and working with kids. Sometimes, I wish that they would get the chance to know the layers of me instead of what they see on the surface. Take a look at this picture. Does it look familiar? It looks like classic high school stereotypes. The popular kids, the nerds, the jocks, the loners, and more. Let's zoom in on Sarah. What labels might exist for someone like her? Popular, pretty, mean, confident, etc. We saw her as the popular girl, the captain of the cheerleading team. We think she's pretty, confident, and mean. She wears the nice clothing and has a huge group of friends. We assume she has the perfect life and has everything she could ever want. But do we know her whole story? We started from an assumption. What everyone doesn't know is that she has been neglected and faced verbal abuse by her family. Everyone would think you know her, but do you know everything about her, her family, her genetics, her childhood, and what has happened to her to shape her into this? How do stereotypes start? Let's look at the cheerleading stereotype. I would like you to meet Sarah. She's a cheerleader, gets good grades, is part of the dance team, sings in the choir, and loves performing. Everyone thinks she has the best life and is so lucky. And in some ways, she is. She is talented, passionate, dedicated, and an incredible person. There are things about Sarah that not everyone can see. She has an enthusiastic cheer mom who's built a non-stop, intense schedule of practices and rehearsals. She was deprived of her childhood and under insane pressure. No matter how hard she tries, it is never good enough. This is a small section of her story, and this is what has motivated one of her main goals in life, which is to provide children with the childhood that she missed. Everyone has a unique life story, who their family is, where they are from, and what happened in their childhood. This story influences how the person goes on in their life and who they are as a person. Experiences we have as kids have a huge impact on who we become when we grow up. Positive experiences in childhood can build confidence and resilience. Negative experiences can build emotional insecurities and challenges. In Sarah's experiences, she puts lots of effort in everything she does and strives for success. Sometimes, this takes her to a place of not feeling good about herself if her outcome is not perfect. Childhood trauma can have an enormous impact on your mental health into adulthood. They can leave emotional scars that influence your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors even after the trauma has ended. She has built the emotional scar of being a perfectionist, which is connected to the pressure of being the best, and if that is not reached, it is not good enough. How many of you know what genes are? Not the ones you wear, the ones that contain code that is unique to you. Your genes are also part of your story, but we don't really think about that. What's crazy is just how your environment you live in impacts you. The environment your genes live in also get impacted. What's crazy is something that happened to your ancestor 4 generations ago can be impacting you right now. Genetics play a role in many aspects of life: how we look, how our bodies function, how we think, and how we behave. Traumatic experiences can change the way our genes are expressed. Trauma is connected through epigenetics. This can potentially impact the way our genes are expressed. It leaves a mark on the DNA, and that changes how they are read and expressed. An example of this is people in the Netherlands were starved and deprived of food. Their children and grandchildren were found to suffer from things like high blood pressure, diabetes, and even schizophrenia. Genes that were passed on had a memory of that trauma, sparking the question in the scientific world of how the memory of something can be passed on and lived on. Would you want to be labeled for something that happened to your great-grandparents that is being expressed by your genes that you have no control over? But this trauma is not who we really are. You are not a label from something that happened to you or generations before you. But it seems like most people can't look past this. As humans, we tend to label each other. Once we label someone, our brain works overtime to find things that prove us right. This is what we call cognitive bias. It is when we only pay attention to things that confirm our opinions. No one should have to suffer the consequence of being an outcast. That could actually be about a behavior caused by something that happened to their great-great-great-grandparents. Labels lead to social harm. If Sarah felt unaccepted because she was being labeled as not good enough, it might take her to a place where she feels as though she has no value, and she might not want to exist anymore, and we could lose her. People like Sarah, who've been through a lot, are scared to make mistakes or overshare, fearing being judged again, so they hide who they really are. What if, instead of labeling them, we embrace them and remove the limiting factor? It's critical for us to interrogate our own cognitive biases when making decisions or interpretations of what we think are facts about people. Now, if we could just stop doing this, I believe we would be in a world that is a safe place. Everyone would be their true selves and not afraid of what other people think. When you label someone, stop for a second. Ask yourself, why? Suspend your judgment and know that there is so much more than what you can see in one glance. Get to know the whole person. Wouldn't you want someone to do that for you? When doing this, allow them to make mistakes. By doing this, they can grow, and so can you. There is an African tradition that illuminates a path to forgiveness. When someone in the tribe acts unjustly or irresponsibly, they are placed in the middle of a circle, full of all the villagers of all ages. Each person speaks about one thing that the person in the center has done in his or her lifetime, positive attributes, acts of kindness, and good deeds. This is a tribal ceremony that takes place for multiple days. Then a joyous celebration occurs, and the accused is welcomed back into the tribe. So, what can we learn from Sarah's story? It's a reminder that there's always more beneath the surface. The labels we place on others, often without thinking, is what we see at a glance, not the full picture. Everyone carries a unique combination of emotions, experiences, and genetics that have shaped them into who they are. When we judge someone by a label, we overlook their strengths, struggles, and dreams. Imagine how life could change if we pause before labeling someone, learn the whole story, instead of listening to an assumption. By doing this, we give others the space to make mistakes and grow without judgment. We create a world where people feel cared for who they are, not limited by the labels placed on them. Thank you.